even is that thing? It's like a butterfly, or maybe it's a bird. It's a flying bird and some trees and... What is this? Oh, it's my Let's Play of Rune Factory Frontier for the Wii. I totally didn't know that before I started recording this. Yeah, so this is my next LP. It's a replacement for my regular Harvest Moon. And that's enough of this smooth jazz bullshit. Thank you. Okay. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. That song for this game, the opening song, is really weird. Anyway, this is my replacement for my regular Harvest Moon LP, and this commentary, at least for the next couple episodes, will be done in post, because I messed up my headset. You may have noticed this in a previous LP, but every once in a while it'll start crackling, and well, let's just wait. Let's wait a second. Let this guy talk.
When I was on the verge of collapse, I met her.
Her. Dum 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 dum. Look at the sky. This game has really pretty graphics. That's one thing.
A home and new memories.
New memories. Bitchin'.
However, she suddenly disappeared one day, without a single word to anybody.
That's just rude. Don't know what talking
The very
about.
next day, I left the town behind to search for her.
Yeah. So apparently this game, I think he's done talking. This game picks off where the first Rune Factory game did, or I think. Man, it's getting pretty dark. Better look for a place to lodge myself. So I think this picks up from where Rune Factory left off, the DS game, or at least in the middle of it. Basically, this main character meets a girl named Mist, and she takes him in because he hit his head and lost his memories, and he lives there and farms for her on her other part of her land. And of course his name's Raguna, but we're not going to call him that. We're much more creative. I bet you can already guess what it is. ASOS, yeah. So, yeah, he gets taken in by this girl, and I guess this is like an alternate reality where she goes off because somebody's calling to her in her dreams. Therefore, we need to go to a church and talk to a nun to find her. And if you see in the background of that church, there's a whale on the stained glass, and that'll become important later, so just make a note. I know we just slept in a church, so that's pretty cool. I'm a fan. I like to sleep in churches. After, well, anyway. One cool thing about this game is it's got very, very gorgeously animated cutscenes. Just look at that. It's great. They're just wonderfully done. This could be a TV show. I love this animation style. I love the graphics. Oh, that's great. I haven't played much of the game yet. And of course it's Mist. And you look just like ASOS. And she's a complete ditz, by the way. A little bit of a weirdo, but you know. Sister Stella. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, if you could turn to the town and tell everybody that I'm not coming back. Somebody was calling to her in her dreams to come to this town and check out that island with... Wait, you don't know about that yet. Anyway. Also, the character... One thing I don't like about this game is you don't have as much control over the personality of the character. Meaning you can't sort of imagine for yourself who he would be or sort of put your own personality onto him, because he actually has a voice and, things that he says. Weird things that he says. It's a little strange. You'll see. You'll see. It comes later. Anyway, so Sister Stella wants us to come back to her house later, and or her church, which is her house, the house of God. And she's going to show us the crappy little farm that every Harvest Moon game has to start off with. Oh yeah, there's the whale, by the way. That's Whale Island. Nobody questions why there's a giant castle on top of it. And there's some caves on there, and that comes in later, because Rune Factory is a little different from other Harvest Moon games we've seen. Any Rune Factory game is. Because it's sort of half farming and marriage and interpersonal relationships, like most of the Harvest Moon games are. But this one is also half dungeon crawling. So you can go into mines and defeat monsters and find items. And a cool mechanic in these games is you can plant. You can plant in dungeons that you've defeated. So that's kind of neat. So she gives us this little cottage. I think it's kind of neat. I want a house like that someday. It's pretty sweet. But if you look out on the field, it's kind of crap. See, it's covered in crap from whoever the last owner was. You know what? You should give your farm a name. Yeah, why don't you give my farm a name, you douche? So we're not going to name it after her because all she does is causes trouble. So we're going to name it, and I'm sure you can guess what I'm going to name this because it's a common theme with me. Yes, a V, and then what? An I, then a C, and then an O, and then what? I can't find the R. Yeah. I'm not sure how this is going to go recording in post. It's weird to me. I like doing it live, but I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see how it turns out. But again, I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just that I messed up my microphone, and the other microphone's hard to use when I'm doing console LPs, so just for ease of use, I'm doing it in post. So she hands us a cheap hoe. And we're going to use that cheap hoe up, too. Later we'll get an expensive hoe. We'll put this dirty hoe back in the box. She thinks we're going to be a good earthmate with our cheap hoe. Is an earthmate like a Harvest Moon pimp? Anyway, she gives us a turnip seed and apparently expects us to give us our turnips later. Biatch, I ain't giving you no turnips. I'm selling all my turnips for the monies. I'm going to have my cheap hoes peddling turnips out on the street corner. Yeah, so, okay, this is where I have a lot of trouble in the game at first because I've done a little playing of it. I streamed it one time, and I could not figure out how to do anything because I was searching around town for people. That's usually what I do. So I thought I'd just start out by going into town. But here, I'm like trying to figure out how to put things in your pocket, even though if you look on the left, it shows you exactly what you can do with each one. It's really simple, but I still find a way to mess it up and pick up every weed and either put it in my pocket or put it back down on the ground. And this was because I was expecting it to be like the older Harvest Moons when you could just throw a weed and it would just go away. Not the case in this one. So what do? Well, we take it. I figured that out. Apparently I'm not paying attention to the button still. So we take out our weeds. Come on. There you go. Click on it. No, apparently not. I thought I was going to figure it out at that point. I was trying to figure out a way that I could just pull stuff out of my bag. And I do think that the controls in this game are a little more complicated because in the older ones, you could just press the R button and then press another, like the A button or something, and it would just come out of your pack. In this one, the buttons are assigned to weird functions, like looking up at the sky, which you'll see a lot of because I couldn't figure it out. So instead, I just eat the weeds and sparkle. I don't know why I'm doing that. But I think the main way you get rid of weeds is a sickle. And I think that they forced that on this game. Because in previous ones, it was just too easy, and nobody upgraded the sickle. Who upgrades a sickle in Harvest Moon? Unless you're freaking, I don't know, getting a bunch of grass. Unless you grow your own grass, which a lot of people don't. So, and here I press the button that makes you look up at the sky. I don't know why that function is there. Like, it would be easier if you just put like a, hey, pull something out of your bag button. But I don't know. And this is your menus. You know, you have your journal and recipes that you collected from the townspeople. And a nice feature of this one is you have a little relationship area where you can see your heart points and friend points with every character. Instead of having to find something separate to tell you all that. Or like in the original Harvest Moon, go read the girl's diary without her permission to figure out how she feels about you. Yeah. So, anyway, tilling the land is basically the same, but in this version of Harvest Moon, you get a nice little square to tell you where you're directing your tool. And I was a little worried at first. I thought it said turnip seed, so I thought I would have to sow it one at a time. But like all the other Harvest Moon games, you get a 3x3 square, 9 squares worth of. You start out with 0 lumber once again, but you get 9 squares of vegetables, which is kind of nice. Cool thing about your farm though, you get sellable items right off the bat. Those bamboo shoots are sellable, so that's kind of cool. You can harvest those right away. And you get out your cheap can, replace it with your cheap hoe. I'm gonna water some shit, bitches. Come on. I was trying to figure out here if I could like equip it to a different button, and I figured that out later. But it's just like one past your journal or something like that in there. You have to find it in the menu, but they don't explain any of this to you. You see down at the right, I thought that was where you keep your equipped tools, but apparently that's not. And of course, you know, pocket some more friggin'. Oh yeah, and then water the pine cones. That's great. But a nice little feature up in the left-hand corner under my face. It tells you your hit points, your rune points. Rune points are what you use to do magic. I see she's going to tell us one of the magic spells you can do. This one actually doesn't take any rune points. It's kind of like mana or magic points in any other RPG. Basically the same. And you can just hit the Y button, and it's underneath your map, and it will take you back to your house. So that's a cool spell. But it's unavailable when you're like fighting bad guys, which makes it a little less useful, I think. Anyway, what I was saying, a cool feature there is the watering can. It tells you exactly how many squares you have left in the can. So I thought that was really, really helpful. Instead of just doing guesswork, you know, you've got it all in the heads-up display, which I just thought was nice. Yep. Other than that, we're about to go on a little guided tour of the place. And I'm sorry I'm not finishing, you know, Harvest Moon SNES. I think that would be better for maybe just later on in my water the grass here. I was trying to figure out how to put the thing away, and then I just started pressing random buttons. But anyway, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. What the heck? Oh yeah, Harvest Moon SNES might actually be better for a legit Let's Play because, you know, this one, for example, is because it has a storyline. Harvest Moon SNES is because it has a set end. Like at the end of 3 years, you get graded on your performance, and then you're done. The game's over. But something like Harvest Moon 64 or Harvest Moon Back to Nature is better for an update video. So I'm thinking eventually I will go back to updating, but with Harvest Moon Back to Nature instead of Harvest Moon SNES. Because I think I might actually want to do a legitimate Let's Play with that game. As much as I was playing it in between, I mean, that makes sense. But since this one has a storyline and stuff, I think this one is, excuse me, this one's going to be a legitimate Let's Play as well. So we go back to the church and visit the old woman, the nun, the nunnery. Get thee to a nunnery. Again, the graphics are they're really pretty in this game. I like them. You know, they're simple, but, you know, that's kind of what I like about Harvest Moon games. They're simple. That's what I like so much about the 64 version. It's just extremely simple and easy to pick up. Which this one isn't as much. See, she's going to have us take a bamboo shoot to Turner, who works at the inn. And he actually owns the inn. And this sort of gives you like a guided tour of the city. Sort of like in the first video game, in the SNES version, you you get taken around the town. Well, you get taken to the town, and then you are not allowed to leave until you've talked to every single person in the city. This is kind of like that, except you're forced to do chores for them. And you put up with it, which is another thing I just don't understand about the character. I mean, he puts up with everything. It's kind of stupid. Like, you can't refuse, you know? The first time I played, the first time I played, I was streaming it. And it got kind of boring because I was just wandering around town checking businesses, and they were all closed. And this is why. They don't open until you finish this little guided tour. And if you don't finish, they never open. It's so stupid. Like, you can go to sleep, wake up the next day, and everything's still closed until you finish this little tour. Ugh. I mean, it's dumb, and it's needlessly confusing. For you know, like here we go. Another one of the cutscenes. Aren't they? I mean, they're just well done. I love it.
Oh, are you a customer?
Nope, I'm not. Green-haired girl. This is Eunice. She's the daughter of the innkeeper.
We have a customer. I'm sorry for being so hasty. Well, welcome.
She's kind of shy.
That'll be...
And then here I was like faced with a moral dilemma because she seemed so nervous and was like, you know, are you going to stay? And so I said yes anyway, even though I have a house outside of town, right? But I was like, sure. And then she was so happy then. And then you wake up in the morning, here you go. And it was a bad decision, apparently. I'm one of the guys who plays a game and always makes the, you know, the good guy decision because I feel bad about being a bad person or doing bad things. You could have just said something. You're horrible. Anyway, and she yells at you. I'm Eunice. What's up? Anyway. And apparently there's a bar right inside the inn that the innkeeper's wife runs. I thought she was an eligible bachelorette at first. She's kind of a babe. Look at this guy. Look at this freaking guy. Anyway, so this is Turner. I don't know how he had that daughter. They don't look anything alike. But you take out the bamboo shoot. I don't want to give them all my bamboo shoots. Bitches. Alright, so I took it out, and there was where I sort of discovered the tool wheel. So that's nice. So he wants me to take something to Ganesha, who runs the forge. So that's kind of nice. And I was like, where's Eunice? I'm going to give her one of these damn bamboo shoots. And so then I figured out the tool wheel. So here it is. You take it and you will equip your tools to different slots. And you get quite a few slots, which makes it nice. And your bag is like infinitely big. Whereas in something like, you know, Friends of Mineral Town, or Harvest Moon Back to Nature, or Harvest Moon 64, you get a really small bag until you buy the upgraded rucksack. Whereas here, it's just like bottomless, and you can fit a cheapo in there. And again, there's your relationship wheel. Your relationship page gives you information about all the characters. Eunice, it says she was cursed by her father's genes, meaning she's a little portly. I don't think she's a really fat character. There's some kind of storyline that goes along with that, but yeah. So I figure out here, I'm like, hey, why won't it let me in? I'm supposed to do this task. And of course I didn't look up at the time. I slept there and woke up at like 6 a.m. apparently. So I have a couple hours till anything happens. So I'm like, oh, okay, so let's go back to the farm. I go back into the inn to see who's there. I was going to go back to the farm right away, but then I was like, let's see who's in the inn. Let's talk to them again. And then I come up here and it's like, that's not Turner. No, it's apparently this babe. And that is Rita. That is Turner's wife. And I thought she was an eligible bachelorette. Unfortunately not. The Karen-style character, the drunkard with assets, is not a wooable lady in terms of the game. So I did look this up. See, I'm like Harvest Moon, like looking up a guide to say, you know, certain things in the game that doesn't ruin it for you, because otherwise it would be impossible to sort of experience the game 100% or you know, see all the cutscenes or, you know, do all that you need to do unless you play it a bunch of times. So I think this is really one of the games that requires a little guidance every once in a while. Whereas, you know, some other game you could just pick up and play. Any Harvest Moon game, if you really want to see all the different little secrets and Easter eggs, it's good to have a little bit of guidance. I mean, you'll get to the point where you'll start finding them for yourself, but you know, knowing the patterns of the characters, for example, it either takes, and I'm like, I still didn't figure it out by this time. They're like, oh, it's 6:30 in the morning. Yeah, that was dumb. So, you know, unless you have like stalker abilities and basically stalk the character and try to find out where they are at all times, it's great to have a guide, because you will waste so much time early on. I mean, even if you just pick one person to find out all their patterns, just one singular person, right? Then you would waste so much time you could be using to plant a lot of plants and get enough money to expand your house, find recipes. So it really is one of those games that I think is just, it lends itself to having at least a light guide on how to do things. So, yeah, and then, you know, of course you use the tool wheel with the select button, or the minus button, I guess. And this game does work, thank God, with a classic controller, because I don't like using the Wii controller. So, yeah. And you don't start out with all your tools either, and you go into your house and there's like a, well, you'll see. But, you only start out with those 2 tools, even though you came from like the first game where you started out with all the tools, I think. I can't remember. They make you work for it a little more in this one, you know? Just like in, you know, in the 64 version, you started out with all your tools, and they upgraded with use. I think these may be the same way. Or you may upgrade your abilities and then have to buy a new tool eventually. But, the tools, at least in like Back to Nature, and I believe Back to Nature at least, in Friends of Mineral Town, you would have to upgrade them by taking them to the blacksmith with ores that you would mined out of the mines, and so it made it a lot harder, but a lot more fun, I think. You know, to digging in the mines was really fun, especially if you knew how to do it. Yep. I just can't wait to find out what all Easter eggs there are in this game. And this is an LP that'll last a really long time, because the games like this are extremely long, and even though there's a story, like, I could update you on how my farm's doing all the time and show you all the little Easter eggs, and it's just great. Like, any Harvest Moon game is usually really great for relaxing. So, anyway, I'm trying to figure out what to do here, because I think I was wasting time, but then I forgot that apparently time stops when you go into buildings. That's how it is in every Harvest Moon game, and thank God, because you'd waste so much time just messing around talking to people. Is there something on my face? Want to help me get it off? Anyway, let's see. So at this point, finally, I can go to the forgery. Not the forgery. The blacksmith, which is run by an elfin woman. Yeah. This is where I run around in circles. Fun stuff. Fun to watch. I think I tried to go to the grocer, and then, you know, I saw, again, close for preparations. And preparations, I guess, means preparations for the character to come in and do things. Oh yeah, and I discovered here, you can water outside of your farm as many times as you want, or outside of a square as many times as you want, and you will not waste the water. That's a really nice feature, because seriously, I don't know how many times I would just miss the mark and waste my water because I wasn't pointing in the right direction. So they really put some safeguards in there for that. Another babe. I think this is an eligible bachelorette. Pretty sure. She winks at you enough to be an eligible bachelorette. And supposedly we're supposed to give her some money. ASOS, was it? Thanks for telling me. Just come to my store if you need anything. Can you give Danny of the general store this money for my tab? And of course we're willing to do it because she's a cute babe. That's one thing that makes me think that maybe the main character isn't, you know. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, but some of the interactions he has make him seem a little, you know, on the femme side. It's really awkward. Especially when this is a game where, like, you can only marry the girls. This guy. This fucking guy. Hello, my name is ASOS and I just moved here. Oh, sounds like you're making the rounds. I'm the owner of this general store. You don't need to call me that. Just Danny is fine. I'm the only general store in the village, so even if you don't like it, don't complain. What, you came to buy? Seeds? Accessories? Then you're not a customer? Then get out. I don't have time for window shoppers. What a dick. What a dick bag. You're going around greeting everybody. Can you go to Eric and do something for me? Again? See, he's so weak. He's like, oh, okay, I'll take this for you, even though you were a total douchebag. Oh, yeah, and buy something next time. Hey, dude, fuck you. Go over to him. Come here. Come here. Have a taste of my cheap hoe. Alright, if you didn't see the sign there, I did a double take. There's even a stone monument that makes strange noises. Oh, that's comforting. I was like, maybe I should go, and then I decided not to. And I was trying to find a way out of the city. And, like, I didn't think to go down those stairs, apparently. I don't know. So I took a look at the map. And there's a little pathway, but I take the completely wrong direction. I go back around to my house. You'll see. I take the wrong direction, go towards the church, then to my house, and then to the farm, which is down in the lower left-hand corner, right there, Eric's farm. Somehow I didn't find the exit out of the city. I have no freaking clue how I did that. Liz wasn't paying attention, I guess. So, floating islands, farming, and weird little light creatures who float around in the air. I don't understand. So, of course, I take the wrong direction back into the church district. So anyway, my update Harvest Moon vids will definitely cease until I finish this RPG, because I don't want to play two different versions of Harvest Moon at the same time. It's kind of a pain in the butt, and, like, playing one is really relaxing, but if I'm having to keep myself to a schedule in order to, you know, do that, then that won't be fun anymore. Like, having a schedule for one Harvest Moon LP, sure, lots of fun, because it's just a relaxing game to play, but having to, like, mitigate between two, and one's updating, and one's a legit LP. Oh, yeah, here's Eric. Or Cross, sorry. Soft-spoken guy. You don't need to know what my name is. How do you know my name? It's written on your mailbox. You write your name in really cute letters. Are you serious? Who says that? Ugh. It's so weird. And he's like looking at you with this like longing gaze out of one side of his face. Mr. Emo Farmer up there. Or he's the builder. I mean, seriously. The builders in previous games were like these big, hairy, manly men. And this guy is just weird looking. And he's a strange dude. I want to find out his story. Hello, young man. I'm Eric, and I run this farm. Are you any older than me? And this guy's like constantly like, do I have a girlfriend? I can't tell you. Like, he's really strange. And he's like telling us we're immature. Anyway, so he wants to share the crops he grows at the farm. I don't know if that actually works because and then he's like, oh, do I have a girlfriend? Give that a rest, man. That's one time where he's at least direct, our character. He's like, hey, dude, shut the hell up about your girlfriend. And then, of course, we go into the next area. his farm. We're going to check it out. And whoa, how'd he get out there so fast?
Hey, young man.
Hey, young man. I was just looking for a friendly chat. Young man, crops in a field will wither at the end of a season. You must be careful. Then comes... because I don't wait long enough. Hopefully I can start getting real commentary in these, because like when I actually play a game, I usually skip through the dialogue, which is not good for LPing, because it's so much fun to just like read the characters and what they're saying. This is a box full of vegetables. This is a box full of vegetables. That's one interesting thing. That's a box full of vegetables. I love boxes full of vegetables. One thing I'm worried about too is like I love these games, but I grew really attached to the original set of bachelorettes in the old games. I thought they were all really cool and had interesting personalities, and I always married the bookworm. So we go in here, and at this point I was like, did I do something wrong? Because I didn't read what the dude said, and he said, I knew the situation, and I finished my chores, so like, I'm good now. Everything's open, and I can go anywhere I want. And when you say, I just came to chat, he'll be like, buy something. And then he's like, oh, springtime's a good time for farming. Buy lots of seeds, bitch. This is weird too. Check this out. Okay, I go in his house and I'm like, oh, let's check out his bed. This is Danny's bed. Maybe I should sleep here. It's so weird. I'm totally gonna check out what happens if you sleep in his bed. That's weird. And then he's like, wait, no, I shouldn't. But, like, he really wants to sleep in Danny's bed. I don't know what the freak, man. So, yeah. Yeah. So we go check out our relations. We are not relations. And this gives you a little, you know, update on all the people. I'm pretty sure that Ganesha is an eligible bachelorette, but I'll take you through that next episode. All the different bachelorettes, their likes and dislikes, and you know, this will actually be a legitimate walkthrough for you guys, because I would like to show you how to play the game, because I'm pretty experienced with Harvest Moon games, and this is one that I'm not exactly experienced with, but I'll get it, you know, and I know the basic mechanics, and I can tell you guys how to do it, because I have played the first Rune Factory. At this point, I'm looking for Eunice, because she's one of the bachelorettes that I'm scoping out. I always like the shy ones. I don't know why, but I always pick out those in these games. I don't know why. I just think it's fun. It's fun to bring, you know, certain characters out of their shells, and I guess it's sort of manipulating people's personalities in a video game. But I think it's fun. I think it's fun. Well, that is about all I've got for today, guys. I really appreciate you guys watching. Keep an eye out for more Sonic episodes, more Chex Quest. And the next episode of my challenge LP. I'm sorry this was so long. I just wanted to give you a good rundown of the first part of the game. So, anyway, that's all I've got for today. Thank you for watching. Ninja, vanish!